What's going on, everybody? Thank you guys so much for coming back to the Hoops by AP YouTube channel. Doing something a little different today, doing a redraft, but it's not like a lot of the other redrafts you see this time of year. After the Thunder drafted Adimara and Bennett Stearns, people were coming at me saying that Sam Presti over the last few years has kind of lost his ability to evaluate talent well in draft, which I think is just a ridiculous idea. And so I have asked Nick Crane, who I'm sure if you're watching this, you know who he is, to come on and talk through a few of the Thunder's young pieces and redraft them in their original draft, just to give Oklahoma City fans an idea of how unbelievably well Sam Presti has been putting together this roster. So, Nick, I appreciate you coming on, man.
Yeah, no, you're totally right. Like, it's funny how the draft pick Sam Presti makes are never popular at the time. I think if we went back in time, the average Thunder fan would say, heck yeah, Ousmane Dieng, so much upside. Oh my gosh, Jaylin Williams is so old. Why would you take him at 12? When you let it breathe and see how it plays out, and you in retrospect looked at his drafts, they're really good, which is the whole point of this show. Yeah, it's exciting. Like he's still a phenomenal drafter. Like, not to bury the lead here, but excited to go through and kind of look at where the guys he's drafted would go now, because they probably wouldn't be available in the spots that they went in when Sam Presti drafted them.
Dude, absolutely. And some of these guys aren't necessarily Thunder draft picks. The first one is one of those. So it's Jared McCain. Like, Jared McCain obviously comes onto the scene, drafted 16th overall. He's leading rookie of the year for a short time before he gets injured. And then the Thunder are able to pick him up this past trade deadline. And now he had just an unbelievable end of the season and a really good, in my opinion, postseason run. So he's still drafted fairly highly at 16th. But Nick, what's your kind of take on where McCain would go with what we've seen now?
Yeah, and McCain's interesting too, because Sam's come out and effectively said the Thunder really valued him. Had great workout, had great interviews, but they like anything in life, you have a chance at one person. You can't have two. There's probably, like, if you simulated the draft 100 times, there's probably 15 or 20 times the Thunder take McCain with their pick here. So I think there's an element of playoff success that has to play in here. And if we're using the context of what we have today, that certainly plays in. So there's a lot of guys in this class that we've either not seen play in the playoffs yet or have not played well in the playoffs. And they have the young guy card. Like Jared McCain, for all intents and purposes, the youngest guy in the Thunder that's actually played real minutes. And I think that carries a lot of weight for him. So when you look at him and his class, I think he has a case to be top 5, just based on the playoff. If you ask me this in May, like early May into the regular season, he hadn't really integrated to the rotation yet. He had the spark in Philly, then he got hurt, and it was like he was more of an injury-prone guy that was playing with the Delaware Bluecoats. Like, what is he? And then you see him be the quite literally second most important offensive player for the Thunder in the Western Conference Finals. And that could be a blurb too. Like, that's not to say he's going to be this good in the upcoming regular season. I think there's a real case where he is a top 5 guy in this class. I think comfortably, like there's no question in my mind, you could say he's better than the spot that he was drafted in. I think defensively, he's come a long way. I think a lot of that has been the same way that teams game plan for offensive players. And the same reason that, like, rookies and sophomores that emerge can play well offensively because there's no game plan is the same for McCain. Like, now that there's film on him defensively, teams can exploit him in the playoffs. But he still has come a long way. And there's like a whole system and effort thing that Mark has deployed. I think that if I were to predict the way this season goes, I pretty comfortably have him for sure top 10. Like, if you just look at like the guys that are firmly above him, Stephon Castle for sure. Buzelis, I would say for sure, just because, like, the size and like he's much more of a unicorn type player. Jalen Wells, I think is up for debate. Like, I think I'd prefer the size that he brings. Alex Sarr, I'd have above him. Outside of that, like if you're a Klingon guy, like, sure, I wouldn't like push back on you. There's not many more guys that I'm just like, yeah, like he's bona fide much better than McCain at this juncture. I don't know.
Yeah.
Where are you at on his?
No, I agree. I think he's somewhere in the like 5 to 7 range for me, which I think is incredible. I mean, he's not the biggest
for
guy,
sure.
but what I think is crazy about Jared McCain that people are forgetting is just how young he is, and I think it's because the Thunder
Mhm.
didn't draft him. Like this is a guy that was a one and done guy in college, if I'm not mistaken, and
Yep.
has played very like minimal time in the NBA because of injuries, which that's a problem. But assuming he stays healthy, like that's a guy that you're like with a healthy offseason, you should actually expect more from him.
Yeah.
So yeah, I comfortably have him in that range. Completely agree with you. Now, another guy that this one will be a much more significant jump, and I'm curious if you would actually have him above Jared McCain, is a guy that the Thunder took on draft night with some trades, is AJ Mitchell. So AJ Mitchell, just unbelievable, picked 38th initially, and I think everyone has him comfortably inside the top 10. Where would he land for you?
Higher than McCain for sure.
Yep.
I'll answer it two ways. If we at this point in time knew he could stay healthy, I think he'd be 3 for me. I don't think the average like Thunder fan maybe thinks about it this way. As much criticism as J-Dub gets for being hurt, AJ Mitchell's an injury prone player.
Yes.
If you're going to talk about who on this team is injury prone, it's AJ Mitchell. Like the turf toe is freshman or his rookie season. Maybe he doesn't get talked about because he didn't have any expectations. He was on the 2A for he is injury prone. Like he has not played many minutes for his draft class. But when he plays, he's freaking good. And he has done it in the playoffs. He has done it in the regular season. I think AJ Mitchell is a clear top 5.
Yep.
I think he's a kind of 3-4, kind of depending on what you value positionally and all that kind of stuff. The injury concerns are a real thing. He's firmly above McCain for me. And the fact that Sam Presti basically took not even a second round pick because he traded Lindy and then like 2 subsequent moves. So basically Lindy Waters and some cash and a first round pick and some seconds to get 2 what we're considering arguably top 5 guys in this class is pretty nuts.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's absolutely phenomenal. And I think what's crazy about him is he's gotten pretty good defensively. Like last year, rookie year, I think we said he was an average defender, but some of the statistics this year were pretty shocking. And I think maybe they overinflate his defensive success a little bit, but he's like clearly a guy that can play both ends. Just an absolute steal. Cason Wallace was picked 10th, so he doesn't have a lot of space to jump up. But like I mentioned, and a person that if you've watched this YouTube channel, you know, in Jimmy from All Things Mavs, like Jimmy was just dying for somehow the Mavericks to get Cason Wallace. That's the guy we're talking about next. Just an unbelievable player. Yeah, exactly. And a guy that you just know if he had a bigger role, like the numbers would just look better and improved. And we saw that this regular season when there were injuries at the guard positions, he just absolutely flourished. So Cason was taken 10th. Where would you put him?
Okay, so we'll do the same thing. We'll look at like who is bona fide, like Victor Wembanyama, obviously. Brandon Miller, I would still take higher. Both Thompson twins, I would still take higher. I think Toumani Camara is an interesting name. He's a second round pick, or maybe late first. That's been.
I think he was, yeah,
definitely second. He is kind of Cason-ish, but like more of a wing forward. Where like I don't. His point, the PRA merchants online are never going to value a guy like Cason or Toumani Camara, but like their impact on the team is tremendous. I'd have him over Scoot at this point. I think Scoot has a lot to prove this year and could absolutely make that a dumb take a year from now. Anthony Black, I think, is in the same tier as both DFW guys that played a bunch of high school ball against each other. I think he's cleared Koulibaly at this point. I think, to your point of Jimmy, if Derek Lively was healthy, I think Lively is a better player. He's not, and he's not been. I think I'd take Cason. So I think he's, to me, like he was taken 10th, really 12th. Right. I think his range is probably 8 to 10. And that sounds like not a good Presti draft, but like if you could guarantee the guy you drafted lives up to his draft position,
Yep.
you're winning titles. That's
Yep.
just because most guys you draft don't do it. You got some guys that pop, some guys that never. Like, if you can guarantee your guy is going to be in the same range, that's a great outcome.
Yep, absolutely. One guy whose range I really have no grasp on at all is Jaylin Williams, J. Will. So J. Will is a guy I've just like fallen in love with. You always loved his personality. You always loved the energy he brings to the Thunder. I feel like he's improved his just on the court play significantly. I feel like as a defender, he actually has a little bit of verticality at the rim now instead of just taking charges. Like it's not anything elite, but he's a guy that just, in my opinion, has solidified himself as a legitimate backup big in the NBA.
Yeah.
Taken 34th overall, I have no idea where I would put him. So I was kind of curious if you had a take on this and where you might think he would end up.
It's a good question. He's obviously very well cleared his draft position.
Yes.
And I think he's a guy that every fan base would love to have. And I think that in itself just speaks volumes. I also think scaling impact's hard. Like it's easy to say if J. Will was on the Pelicans, and it was a starter, he could, but maybe not. Like there's a lot of value being insulated by great players as well. But his 3-point shot has very much come around. He's a much better defender. He's doing like wonderful pull-ups on the short corner. Like he's a good player. His class was also pretty freaking solid. Like Paulo, J-Dub, Chet. Like there's a lot of guys in that class that are phenomenal. I would probably, without going through every name that I think is clearly better than him and just kind of going off vibes here, I would probably take him in that like 15 to 19 range, that no man's land where it seems like the Heat every year get a good player and like all these middling teams that just miss out on the playoffs, but like need a contributor. And he's that like multi-year college guy that fits that mold. So yeah, 15 to 19 is probably his range.
Yeah, that makes total sense. So I didn't include Chet on here. You just mentioned him in the same draft just because Chet was taken at 2. So I've really just got guys that were kind of drafted in that 10 to later range all the way into the second round, which leads us to the other Jaylin Williams, J-Dub, taken 12th overall. I think most people, when they redraft this class, have some order of Paolo, Chet, Dub. Where does Dub fall for you?
Yeah. He, to me, is 2. And I think it's Chet 1. Just throwing that out there. I think the average person on social media has this recency bias of Wemby kind of punking him, and he did. Like if you watched the series, there's no if you're a Chet defender, you're defending the 109 games before that series when he was phenomenal and he was all NBA and runner up for defense player. He's an incredible player, like top 20 in the world as we're talking right now. I value like the unicorn aspect. In the sense that like there's always going to be the microwave scorer in every draft. There's always going to be the versatile 2-way wing. The Chet homers just don't come by very often. Instead of him 1, J-Dub 2. Some of that's probably like I don't watch Paulo as much, and I've seen J-Dub score 40 in the NBA finals and like be a bona fide number 2. And like Paulo has been really hit and miss a lot. Like I think Paulo probably, I think a lot of franchises would take Paulo. If you asked 30 GMs, start a franchise, Paulo or J-Dub, I think a lot would take Paulo, to be clear. But J-Dub, he's got a more proven track record. If you remove this recent injury season, like he is unbelievable. So I would go Chet, Dub, Paulo.
Yeah, no, I think I'm in the same boat as you. I'm actually one of the biggest Chet defenders in the like world, and I agree with you. Like there's no way to sugarcoat what he did, what he didn't do in the series against the Spurs. But I always just look at it strictly from a defensive perspective. When people are talking about trading Chet, I just don't think they realize how much that would significantly change how the Thunder can play defense. It's just crazy. So no, I'm totally with you, and I agree. I think this is the opinion you just shared is fairly popular, having J-Dub and Chet above Banchero. Banchero's plus minus is like horrible. And I do think he improved a little bit post All-Star break in that, which is good, but I love it. I have those guys above them as well. Okay, let's just cap this off. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, obviously the lowest he can be is 2. So
Yeah.
it's him and Luka in their draft class. Who you got?
Okay. I think my take is pretty rational, though I know for a fact anybody watching this that is a Luka fan is gonna push back. I'll put it simply. You play basketball at this level for 2 reasons. You play it, number 1, to win titles. You play it, number 2, to win individual awards. Luka's done neither. Shea has done all the above.
Mm-hmm.
I completely agree. Luka is a generational talent. Luka is one of the best offensive players we have ever seen in this game. Luka has carried teams to places they should have never been.
Mm-hmm.
You can blame it on poor roster construction. You can blame it on being traded. You could say the Mavs would have won it the year he got traded. That's all good. I wouldn't push back on any of it, but it's not reality either. And when guys retire and we do these GOAT lists, like no one's talking about, yeah, but what if Charles Barkley had gotten traded to, like, that's not a conversation. Like, what happened and one didn't. And at this juncture, Shea has lapped Luka. Like, to me, it's not a question. I appreciate you bringing it up as the 2018 redraft. To me, it's 0 question. It's Luka 2, Shea 1.
Yeah, I completely agree. And just if there are any Luka fans watching this, Jimmy actually agrees. Like, he obviously likes Luka as a player.
I love Luka.
So much. Yeah, he's a super exciting player to watch.
Yeah.
But he agrees at this point. Like, I think two-way impact is a thing. Also, like, if we're going to mention players that on the Thunder that are injury prone, like if you're comparing Luka versus Shea, like one of them is injury prone and one is not, and it's not Shea. So no, I'm completely with you. So guys, listen, the only reason I wanted to make this video is to hopefully shut everybody up about Sam Presti's ability to construct a roster. Like, we have just talked through basically everyone that's going to have significant rotational minutes. Like, we could have gone through the whole roster. Obviously, Alex Caruso would not be undrafted anymore. There's all these guys, but even a guy we didn't include in Chet Holmgren, in your opinion, moves up a spot. And I think everybody, like, this is not a homer take to say every single one of these players, for the most part, would be drafted above where they were drafted. The Thunder absolutely have some project guys with Topic, with Sorber, with Mara. I think Sturts is going to have more of an immediate impact than people give him credit for. But the rest of these guys are dudes that, like you said earlier, not only lived up to their ranking, but in basically everybody's opinion has surpassed it. So, Nick, what's your outlook on this Thunder team going into this year?
Okay, so Lou Dort, obviously fan favorite. Like, he's done a ton for this franchise. Like, he is borderline, like, do you retire this guy's jersey to some degree? That said, Cason's a better player. Cason has in a lot of ways been held back by coming off the bench and not, like, Cason's played more minutes than Lou in the playoffs. Like, that's just undeniable. So Lou Dort, from a like emotional standpoint, probably hurts the fan base. Like, Lou Dort offensively has been awful. I think that Cason is an upgrade. I think that Isaiah Joe had plenty of time to prove he's a playoff guy. He's just not. That's okay. You need 82 game guys, you need 16 game guys. Isaiah Joe's an 82 that helped the team get the number 1 seed. He's not a playoff guy. Aaron Wiggins, hit and miss, huge part of the title run, was not a part of anything last year. I genuinely like when I look at this year's roster, last year's roster, the championship roster, if you were any less confident in a title with this roster, I don't know what to tell you, because there's no difference. It is the same core guys. Like, if J-Dub's healthy and AJ's healthy, they probably win a title and they're repeat. And we're sitting here talking about three-peat. Who cares? We're probably not talking about the draft. We're talking, like, at that point, it's like, who cares about the draft? Like, who cares about these? Like, they probably should be on a three-peat track right now, but this is more injury and this second apron stuff. The real second apron casualties are coming.
Yes.
The ones we saw this summer, that's not really anything to me.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And that's kind of my thoughts for this coming season. I think the Thunder clearly lost some regular season depth. But if the rotation shortens in the playoffs, which Thunder fans have been telling Dagnall to do that for years. So, like, I don't want to hear it from any Thunder fans that we're going to miss Wiggins in the playoffs. You're replacing minutes that Joe had a few of, Wiggins had a few of, and Dort had a little more of. You're replacing all those minutes with
all three of
AJ,
which were negatives in the playoffs.
And you're replacing them with AJ Mitchell and Cason Wallace. Like those are the guys who are going to eat those minutes. And like that to me is a better team. So I've been on record a few times saying there's a chance the Thunder regress a tiny bit in regular season record this year and are much better when the playoff comes. And I'm totally fine with that.
Spot on. Yep.
Cool, dude. Well, Nick and I were talking beforehand. Nick does a lot of things. So if you guys have made it this far, Nick, where can they find you?
Just go to Crane NBA on Twitter. I'm a lot of places, but I try to post my work there. So that's kind of the composite of everything, podcast and writing and all that kind of stuff. So we're still 2 months away from preseason hoops, but please fast forward and get us there.
Dude, I know.